Okay, so we're going to start with chords today. And we're going to start with the A major. This is how you finger it right here. So just a couple things that are really important for this chord. Every chord you need to learn how to play it. You can't learn just one chord and apply it to everything else. Every chord, there's a certain fingering, a certain way that you have to approach it. So you're going to have to try to figure this out, and this is here to guide you. So we obviously have our E, A, D, G, B, and E strings. And it goes from order from top to bottom. Okay, so if I say the low E string is going to be the lowest sounding E string. If we say the A string, that's the next one, the second one. If we say the D string, it's going to be the next one, the third string. If we say the fourth string, it's going to be the G string. The fifth string is the B string. And then the last string is the highest one, the one at the bottom, which is the high E string. So there are 6 strings, and each one has a name: E, A, D, G, B, and E. Very important to memorize it, because from here on out, I'm going to say, okay, on your D string, 2nd fret. So you're going to have to think E, A, D. Okay, E, A, D, second fret. Okay, so you're going to have to think of it, pause it when you need to, and get it figured out and keep going from there. This will help you memorize. So you have actually we're going to start off with our second string, our A string. That's the first one that you hit. It should be open. You're not fretting anything. Okay, good. The next string is going to be now your second finger. You're going to use the 2nd fret on which string is it? The D string. All right, next one, your G string. It's going to be 3rd finger on the 2nd fret. And the last finger you're going to use for this chord is your pinky, which is your 4th finger, 2nd fret on the B string. Okay? So now you're not going to play the low E string, the thickest string on your guitar, but strum everything else one by one. One more time. Okay, go ahead and let go. So as a new guitarist, your fingers might feel really sore, pain. Beauty is pain though, right? However, you got to make sure that you're honest with yourself. The more it hurts, the more you're going to need a longer break in between practice. So just do just enough to start off, and over time, your skin will build calluses, and you won't feel the pain. The fingertips will get a little harder. And so what we want to do is go ahead and finger that again. Make sure you're not hitting the low E string. This one, don't do it. Don't play it. And just a couple tips, just because right now I have bigger than normal fingers. Not huge fingers, but what I have to do, I learned that you have to really learn how to move your wrist so that you can actually play it. So if your wrist is way up high, it's going to be a little hard, right? It's like opening your palm up to the sky. If your palm is facing too far down, check this out, down, then it's hard to finger that. So find what's natural. For every chord, your wrist is going to pivot one way or another to help you finger that. So check out, I'm going to play several other chords, and you're going to see how my wrist moves. Just watch this movement. A, C, G, D. You see that? So D, C, G, A. So there's movement. Don't just grip it and then try to move the fingers. Your hand, your wrist is also moving. Now, your thumb technically should be on the back of your guitar neck in the middle. So it should be right here. That's the proper way of doing it. If any advanced professional guitarist sees you with your thumb laying up here, they're going to laugh at you, or they're going to say that you don't know how to play the guitar. However, who cares, right? Especially if this is just for fun. A lot of guitarists like Jimi Hendrix or even John Mayer, different guitars will actually use their thumb, and you'll see me using it. It started off as a bad habit. Then I learned in school that it's not correct. However, I use it to my advantage, and that's what guitar is all about. Use it to your advantage. Do things for yourself. Be creative on your own. There's really no right and wrong way of doing it, even though a lot of people will be angry that I said that. Okay, so lastly, we're going to go ahead and finger that again. One more tip. So your placement of your hand. Another tip. If you try to fret it too high, this is what it's going to sound like. You're not going to get the right tone. So by now, you should already know that the closer you get to the fret, the better it's going to sound. But if you get on top of the fret, you're going to start bleeding into the next fret up. It's just not going to work. So as close to the top of the fret as possible. Okay, I'm going to get in a little bit. As close to the top of the fret as possible. So which means we're on the second fret. You want to try to get all of them as close to the bottom as possible. However, I've noticed that even if I'm way up here, see my second finger is way up here, I'm still fretting the second fret. However, my guitar still rings good. This is actually a really nice guitar, so it makes it possible. Your guitar might be a beginner guitar or a little older. Maybe the neck, even if it's a good guitar, could warp, which means that it gets bent. The wood bends, and it makes it harder to fret things without buzz or sounding like a different note. So that's what you're going to have to notice. If you have to work to fret all the way right there, you see how close they are to that second fret? Well, not that sound, but there you go. Then you got to do what you got to do, right? It's your instrument. You are the person that's trying to make that piece of wood sound amazing. So it's up to you to find what that guitar needs to make it sound pretty. So not every guitar is going to be the same. And you have to notice that. My acoustic and my electric are completely different. I have two different acoustics that play completely different because the neck's different. There's so many variables. So those are just some tips. You might watch online, watch the video and feel, man, I'm trying the same thing. Well, the reality is it's different. Every neck is different. Every guitar is different. Every finger is different. All right, so now we're on the A. Some people might tell you, I'm using the second, third, and fourth. Some chord charts might say use the first, second, and third. Same thing. It's just preference. Okay? This is what this YouTube video is all about. Who cares what the right and wrong way is? Do what's comfortable for you as long as it makes sense. So there's some times where I might play with my second, third, and fourth finger. There's some times where I'll play with my first, second, and third finger. There's some times where actually I play like this. I'm just using one finger to fret 3 strings. Right? There's a time and a place, and you'll discover as you learn guitar when it's appropriate to use a different approach for the same thing. And that's what guitar is all about. Okay, so that's your A major. Get really good at that one. This one's a little hard because your fingers are so close to each other. One more tip, all right? So I've noticed, I'm gonna put my fingers here, and I'm gonna try to show you, without moving them, the position that they're in. They are slightly like this. They're slightly on top of each other. Not all the way, right? But they're definitely not next to each other. And why does that matter? Because I can't fit all 3 of my fingers across the board and get the tone. I have to stack them on top of each other. So be mindful of what it takes for you to do that. And once you figure that out, that's your approach of doing it. Okay, awesome. So now the next chord that we're going to learn is the G major chord. Here it is. All right, we're going to one finger at a time. We're doing our second finger, low E string, 3rd fret. First finger, 2nd fret of the A string. So here's what you got so far. And then the last finger is your pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. All right, so just a few tips. I'm gonna turn my hand just a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Okay, It's hard to see. Maybe that's a bad angle. That's a lot better. I want you to notice that my fingers aren't laying flat. For these chords, for this chord, you need to make sure you're arching. So your fingers need to have a curve. If they are too flat, they're going to touch frets and you're going to hear buzzing. So make sure that it's not flat, but make sure that it's curved, okay? So you want to curve it, little rainbows, okay? You want to curve it. All right. So any buzzing, just take your time with it until there's no buzzing, and then work on playing it faster and faster without the buzzing. Okay, there you go. All right, next one is the D major chord. Now for this one, you are not playing your low E string or your A string. Don't play those, which is your first and second string. Don't strum them, don't play them. It's only the other string, so it's only a 4-string chord. So it starts with the D string, so D is open, you're not fretting anything, and then you have these 3 here. So we're going to start with our first finger. Our first finger goes on the 2nd fret of the G string. Then your second finger goes on the 2nd fret of your high E string. And then your third finger goes on the 3rd fret of the B string. So now you're open, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. All right. And again, the position of my fingers are very much like this, arches, rainbows. You want to make sure that you're not accidentally flat, otherwise you might find some stuff. There are chords that you are going to flatten out your fingers, but we'll get to those, and those are a little harder. However, for now, do it this way. Also, another tip, you're not supposed to play flat on the fat part of your finger. No, you're playing on the tips. Not in your nail, that'd be gross, but the tips of your finger. So I'm gonna try to do it. I don't know if it's gonna stay in focus or not, but I'm gonna press down and you should be able to see, maybe it's too bright, there you go. You see where the indentations are on my fingers? They go away, don't worry, but they're on the tips, all right? So, let's get in focus real quick, there you go, all right. So now you know the A major, play that with me. Now you know the G major, play that with me. And now you know the D major, play that with me. Okay, we'll learn some strumming techniques later. So you could use a pick or you could use your fingers, like I'm using my thumb to strum like this all the way down there. You see that? All right. For now it's fine. However, we'll learn strumming techniques and the correct pick position and posture in another video. One thing at a time. So memorize these 3. That's a lot to learn for now, especially if you've never done it before. Learn the 3, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Hit subscribe, hit the like, and come back for another lesson. See you next time.